What's going on, guys? MariK here, back with another Dragon Ball Super video. Set 11 is not even out yet, and Bandai is already beginning its reveals for Draft Box 6, which is a heated debate among fans, among players alike, and collectors, just because draft boxes, they're ridiculously hard to get. They're limited quantity. The cards go up in ridiculous amounts. They fluctuate more than any other cards in this game, and it causes a lot of problems for, well, some of us that don't feel like spending an entire paycheck on a single playing card. But more cards means more support for older sets. Let's go ahead and check this shit out. So first up, we've got King Piccolo, the new ruler. He's a 3-cost, 15,000 with double strike. His permanent says if your leader card is red, this card gets plus 5,000 power, and your opponent can't activate blocker skills in response to this card's attack. Not terrible. Activate main. If you have a red unison card in play with 3 or more markers on it, play this card from your hand, and you can't play copies of this card for the turn. At the end of your turn, send this card to its owner's warp. So it's basically a free 20,000 double strike. I mean, it's okay. It's nothing major, but I don't quite see. It doesn't particularly help any deck. I mean, you have to have a red unison and a red leader, but what does it really accomplish besides getting in some cheap double strike damage? Then we've got Korin Tower's Secret Medicine. So 1-cost. Activate battle says if your leader card is red, choose one of your cards. It gets plus 5,000 power for the turn. If it's your opponent's turn, choose one of your opponent's cards, ignoring barrier, and it gets minus 5,000 power for the turn. So, kind of, sort of like a red Sensu Bean, but not as good. And I don't know, if it's your opponent's turn ability kind of sucks. So it's a red Sensu Bean that's not as good, that's you're really only going to use on your turn, at best. I mean, it's a cool concept, and I love Korin as a character. We definitely need some more Korin cards, but this just isn't the way to go about it. Then we've got Bardock, Grade Ape Assault. You guys know how much I love Bardock and Bardock's crew. He's a 5-cost, 20,000 with double strike, blocker, and EX Evolve for 2 blue energy on a blue Bardock with energy cost of 2 or more. So, last I checked, we only have 1 blue Bardock right now. And it's the 5-cost from Clash of Fates. So, this means we're going to be getting more blue Bardocks, which is great. I'll take any new Bardocks of any color as long as it's regular Bardock. His permanent says, when using this card's Evolve skill from your hand, you can choose battle cards from your energy and play this card in active mode. So that's really cool that you can just play him 2 energy. You don't have to have anything on the board, so you can just come out and beat face. And taking an energy from yourself seems like a bad idea. But his auto says, if your leader card is a blue Saiyan card, when a card in your energy evolves into this card, draw 1 card. Then at the end of your turn, switch this card to active mode and place the top card of your deck in your energy and rest mode. So, you get your energy back, you get to draw an extra card, and he gets put back into active mode to then be a blocker. This card is phenomenal. Your leader has to be a blue Saiyan, but that's okay because Bardock's leader is a blue Saiyan. Of course, there's others like the Super Saiyan 3 Goku and the Super Saiyan Blue Goku, Soul Striker, there we go, that you could run this kind of thing with as well. But honestly, I'm just excited to have more Bardock Crew stuff, and I can't wait to see more Bardock Crew stuff that we might get in Draft Box 3. I might actually invest in buying a few singles from this set. And this is one of the super rare cards too, so I can already tell it's going to be a few dollars to purchase for sure, sadly. Then we've got Intersecting Fates. It's a 1-cost. Activate main says if your leader card is blue, look it up to 2 cards from the top of your deck. Add up to 1 card among them to your hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. At the end of the turn, switch up to 1 of your mono blue energy to active mode. Again, another fantastic blue card. And this works with any blue leaders. Any good blue deck you want to run, throw this in there. This is a 4 of. Easily a 4 of. You're not generating any card advantage because it's a 1-for-1. However, since you can run it with any blue leader and you get an energy back, it's basically free deck manipulation, free searching, or scry. But either way, fantastic card. And it's got my boy Bardock on there. So I'll probably be running this in all of my blue decks. Then we've got Super Saiyan 3 Son Goku, Fist of Fortitude. He's a 5 cost 30,000 with Triple Strike and Barrier. His activate main says, if your leader card is green and you choose one card in your hand and discard it, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring Barrier, and KO it. Then remove one of your opponent's Unison cards. Then choose one of your opponent's Unison cards and remove 2 markers from it. Just remove a Unison card. That would be busted. His other activate main says, for 1 green energy, if your leader card is green and you discard this card from your hand, choose one of your opponent's Unison cards and remove a marker from it. That's, I mean, I guess it'd be a quick way to get rid of a Unison if you got it down to 1 marker, but not a bad card. I don't know. 5 energy is pretty hefty to be playing this Goku, though. Then we've got Harudegarn, Phantasmic Evolution. It's a 6 cost, 25,000 with critical. He's got EX Evolve for no energy, no discard whatsoever. Just play him on top of a Harudegarn with an energy cost of 4. Now, this one's green, which is kind of odd because the entire Harudegarn lineup is blue, and we've never gotten support for the deck outside of its initial set release. Its auto says, when this card is removed from your battle area by an opponent's skill or KO'd, play 1 Harudegarn card with an energy cost of 4 or 9 from your deck or hand, shuffle your deck if you look through it, and you can't play copies of this card for the turn. If you didn't play a battle card, choose 2 cards in your opponent's hand and discard them. So that gives you some really strategic play style with this card. You can use it to easily just rip cards out of your opponent's hand, a la it being green, or getting out the bigger Harudegarn cards to go along with the blue stuff. I don't really remember what the big Harudegarn card does because nobody ran it for the actual archetype. They just used the leader and some of the other cards as an engine. But his activate battle says KO this card. Choose up to 2 of your opponent's battle cards and KO them. So now that's a really cool ability because since activate battle, you can use it during your opponent's turn. And if they have 2 cards that are just going to go in for some big damage or whatever, you're just like, fuck it. Go ahead and get rid of him. Kill your 2 dudes. My turn now? So, this is a really cool card, really easy to play, and, yeah, we're really not sure how to feel about this card. It's definitely a fantastic card, but I don't know why. Then we've got Icarus, a kind friend. He's a 3 cost, 10,000 power. His auto says for 1 yellow energy, if you have 2 or more energy and it's your opponent's turn, at the end of a battle where this card is used in a combo from your hand, play up to 2 skillless battle cards with energy cost of 1 from your deck or drop area. Then shuffle your deck if you looked through it, and you can't activate the auto skills on copies of this card for the turn. So this is a really cool card that works for not only any of the skillless Black Goku decks, if you're running any skillless cards that have 1 energy, but obviously this goes with the actual yellow Son Gohan deck, and the fact that you have 8 yellow 1-drop Son Gohans to choose from with this, really just, it's a solid card for the deck all around. Then we've got Lord Slug, Super Namekian. If we never got more Lord Slug support, I would have been just fine. He's a 3 cost yellow, 20,000 with Unique and Barrier. I like how they've added Unique to all these cards, and when there's all these other cards before Unique was a thing that just said, you can't have more than 1 copy of this card, just put Unique on it. Just go back and... Anyway, his permanent says, Bond 2, when this card is in rest mode, your opponent can't add cards from their deck to their hand using non-leader card skills. Activate main says, for 1 yellow energy, if your leader card is yellow or a Slug's Army card, and you discard this card from your hand, play up to 1 Slug's Army card with an energy cost of 1 from your deck, and then shuffle your deck. I hate that. I hate that so much because then you're going to get the 1-drop little shit that has Barrier and reduces all your Slug's Army by 1, and fuck this guy. I just don't like it. It being yellow might get in the way. I've never actually played a Lord Slug deck, but one of my team members did, and I hate Lord Slug. But who knows? Adding the control factor to yellow to Lord Slug and then combining it with the green hand destruction, that might actually work out pretty well for you. Then we've got Toei, Dark Demon Realm Scientist. Is she really a scientist, though? She's got 20,000 power, and a permanent says this card can't attack if it has 2 or fewer markers on it. Auto says once per turn, when one of your opponent's battle cards is removed from battle by a skill or KO'd, add a marker to this card. So really easy way to add markers to this card, and with it being a black overwhelm, you can just play it for anywhere from 1 to as many energy as you can afford. Its first activate main for +/-0. Choose one card in your hand and discard it. Choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, energy cost of 3 or less, and send it to its owner's warp. So she's more or less just evens the playing field every single turn. If your opponent has any cards that don't have barrier, you can just discard any card in your hand that is not of any use at the time, and which would also fuel Overwhelm if you ran it with this, and also just allow you to warp your opponent's little dudes. Then, its -4 activate main says choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and gain control of it. So that's a really cool ability too. Again, this card is all about controlling your opponent's side of the board, which that's what Toei has always been about anyways, but I really like this card. I think this is going to be one of the chase cards throughout the set. Then we've got Demon God Demigra, True Power Unleashed. You guys know I don't really give a shit about Demigra, but he's a 5-cost, 30,000 with Overwhelm 5 and Dark Overwhelm 5, both for 2 energy. His auto says, when this card is played using Overwhelm or Dark Overwhelm, draw one card, then choose one of your opponent's battle cards and send it to its owner's warp. So, it's a +2. It's not bad. A +2 for 2 energy. And 30,000 power. That's actually a pretty solid card, I gotta be honest. His auto says, when this card attacks, your opponent chooses one card in their hand and sends it to their warp. So, +3. +3 for the turn, and then +2 because it'll go away because of Overwhelm. Unless you Dark Overwhelm it, then it's still a +3. So this is actually a pretty good Demigra card, and can be ran in literally any deck that you can afford to Overwhelm. So I actually like this card, considering it's a Demigra card, and that's probably the first time you'll ever hear me say that. Then we've got Son Goku, Unwavering Conviction. He's a 4-cost red-green with 20,000 power, energy exhaust, double strike, and a rival red-green for 1 green energy. His activate battle says once per turn, place up to one card from your opponent's combo area in its owner's drop area. Then choose one of your unison cards or battle cards other than this card, and it gets +5,000 power for the turn. Not a bad ability at all. Getting to play it for 1 energy, and then activate battle once per turn. So you can use its ability during your turn or your opponent's turn, and you can give a card 5,000 extra power for a turn, and you can remove one of your opponent's combo cards. This is actually a pretty solid card for a rival, and honestly, I really like this card. I think this is a pretty neat card. It's only a rare, which doesn't really mean shit when it comes to draft boxes, especially if you sit there and, you know, pay attention to card values on a daily to semi-daily basis like myself. You will see some of those rares from draft boxes can get pretty expensive for a rare. Then we've got Explosive Demon Wave. It's a 3-cost red-blue counter. If your leader card is red and you choose one red card in your hand and discard it, negate the battle card's counterattack skill. Then switch up to one of your blue energy to active mode at the end of the turn. Activate main. Send this card from your drop area to your warp. Look at the top card of your deck. If it's a multicolored extra card, you may add it to your hand. Otherwise, place it on top of your deck. This is actually a pretty solid card all around. Not only is it going to counter any of the blue baby counterattack cards, for example, but there's also the Topos and some of the other cards that do the same thing. But you get to switch a blue energy to active mode, which you're running a deck full of red-blue cards anyways. You have to discard a red, but again, red-blue. So very easy to do. And then once it's in your drop area, it doesn't cost any energy to activate that other ability, and you just add another card to your hand. So very solid card. It's not too busted. If it was counter, and you could counter any counterattacks, then that would be insane. But I believe Invoker is really going to appreciate this card. Then we've got one of the new GFRs. I'm guessing it stands for Giant Force Rare, since, well, the cards are insert name Giant Force. But we have Lord Slug, Giant Force. He's a minimum 2-cost red, 15,000 power with critical. His +1 ability says activate main. You may choose one card in your hand and discard it. If you do, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and it gets -10,000 power for the turn. So you add a marker to it, discard a card, maybe KO some little battle cards, or if not, make them weak enough to be able to kill with some of your other battle cards. His -4 ability is an auto This is if your leader card is red, when your opponent activates a counter skill, deal 1 damage to them. So this will be one of those cards that you really don't want to let it get more than 4, or at least not get it to more than 4 more than once. Dealing 1 damage for nothing. I mean, this doesn't even cost any energy. So all you have to do is keep this guy alive and keep his counters up. And there are a lot of cards that allow you to do that. Hint, hint, the Bardock I was talking about in the previous video. Then we've got Bergamo, Giant Force, again going with the GFR. He's a yellow, minimum 1 cost, 5,000 power. His permanent says this card gets plus 3,000 power for each marker on it. Auto says once per turn when your opponent attacks this card, add a marker to this card. So kind of like the Bergamo stuff from older support, where he gets a benefit when he's attacked as a target. His activate main for 0 says add a marker to this card. Kind of odd that it doesn't get anything else because of that, but because it gets the power boost from the addition of markers, I can kind of see how doing it that way, not giving it an ability just to add a marker, would kind of keep the card balanced. Then you've got your -2 activate main. It says play up to 1 skillless battle card or Universe 9 card with energy cost of 2 or less from your deck in rest mode, then shuffle your deck. So this here works, again, another card that goes hand in hand with the skillless Goku stuff. As long as you're running at least 1 yellow to be able to play him, and there's plenty of good yellow support and plenty of vanilla yellow cards, so I can definitely see that being viable. But then giving you, more Universe 9 support. Granted, it's only 2 costs or less, but I also feel like with some of the Universe 9 stuff, if you were trying to set up that triangle, boy, we really don't want you getting free 3 or 4 costs out just with this ability. But overall, it's not a bad card. I can dig it. But that's going to go ahead and wrap up this video for today. Hopefully, Bandai will continue to give us some slow reveals. I'm definitely looking forward to the Bardock's True support. You guys know I am. I'm still sitting there tweaking Bardock every single day. He's one of the decks that, despite all the support we have in this game for so many different archetypes, Bardock is like the one character that I just refuse to get rid of. But let me know what you guys think of these cards and which of the new support you are most excited for in the comments down below. With that, we're going to go ahead and get the frig out of here, and we'll see you guys in the next video.